Well, as you know, Mr. Stone has been kind enough to meet with us tonight to explain his recommendations concerning the town's sewage disposal problem. We're all concerned about the lobster kills, like the one last summer, and I for one don't want to see any more sewage dumped into that harbor. So, Mr. Stone, we'd like to hear from you on what it is you want to do.
Thank you. I'm glad to get this opportunity to hear your concerns on the lobster situation. Let me say from the outset that we are still studying the problem closely and expect to make our formal recommendation to the town about a month from now. I am not prepared to discuss specific conclusions of our study, but I am prepared to incorporate any relevant comments into our study. As most of you are probably aware, we are attempting to model mathematically, or simulate, condition in the harbor to help us to predict the effects of sewage in the harbor.
Now wait a minute. I don't know anything about models except the kind I used to make as a kid. Haha, I can tell you that we never had lobster kills like we have now until they started dumping that sewage into the harbor a few years back. I don't need any model to tell me that. It seems to me that common sense tells you that if we've got troubles now in the summer with the lobster, that increasing the amount of sewage by 10 times the present amount is going to cause 10 times the problem.
Although it's true that we're proposing to extend the sewage system in town, and that the resulting sewage flow will be about 10 times the present flow, the area of the sewage discharge will be moved to a larger area of the harbor, where it will be diluted with much more seawater than is the present area. In addition, if the harbor is selected for the new discharge, we will design a special diffuser to mix the treated sewage effluent quickly with ocean water. As I indicated, we are attempting to use data on currents and water quality that we collected in the harbor, and combine it with some mathematical equations in our computer to help us to predict what the quality in the harbor will be.
I don't understand why you need a computer to tell you that. I've been fishing in this area for over 35 years now, and I don't need any computer to tell that my lobsters are going to die if that sewage goes into the harbor.
Let me say before this goes too far that we're now talking about discharging raw sewage in the harbor. The sewage is treated and disinfected before it is discharged.
Isn't the sewage that's being dumped into the harbor right now being treated and disinfected, Mr. Stone?
Yes, it is, but
the lobsters still die, so it's clear to me that treated and disinfected doesn't solve the problem.
Our model will predict whether the treatment provided will be sufficient to maintain the water quality in the harbor at the state's standard for the harbor.
I don't give a damn about any government standard. I just care about my lobsters and how I'm going to put bread on the table for my kids. You engineers from Boston can come out here spouting all kinds of things about models, data, standards and your concern for lobsters. What it really comes down to is that it's just another job. You can collect your fees for your study, go back to your office and leave us holding the bag.
Now wait a minute, Mr. Mitchell. My company is well established in Boston, and we didn't get that way by giving our clients that fast shuffle and making a quick exit out of town. We have no intention of leaving you with an unworkable solution to your sewage problems. We also will not solve your sewage and leave you with a lobster kill problem. Perhaps I have given you the wrong impression about this modeling. We regard this as one method of analysis that may be helpful in predicting future harbor conditions, but not the only method. We have over 40 years' experience in these harbor studies, and we fully intend to use this experience, in addition to whatever the model tells us, to come up with a reasonable solution.
That's all well and good, but I can tell you, and I think I speak for all the lobstermen here, that if you recommend dumping that sewage into the harbor, we'll fight you all the way down the line. Why can't you pipe the sewage out to the ocean if you're so concerned about dilution? I'm sure that your model will tell you there's enough dilution out here.
I agree that the ocean will certainly provide sufficient dilution, but the whole purpose of this study is to see if we can't avoid a deep ocean outfall, because the cost of constructing a deep ocean outfall in this area is very expensive, say about $500 per meter. Now, if the length of the outfall is 2,000 meters, don't you think that it makes good sense to spend a few $1,000s studying the harbor area if we can save you million?
All that money that you're going to save the town doesn't do much for the lobstermen who will be put out of business if that sewage goes into the harbor.
We wouldn't recommend that if we thought, based on our modeling and our experience in this area, The quality of the water in harbor would kill any lobster or any other aquatic life.
Well, I'm telling you again, if you try to put that stuff in our harbor, we'll fight you all the way. I think we've made our position clear on this thing, so if there are no further comments, I vote that we adjourn the meeting.